Hello. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kara Goodwin, and I'm host of the Meditation Conversation podcast. And there is so much going on right now energetically. I wanted to tune in with you guys and I'd love to know how things are showing up for you. If you're noticing a lot of shifts, I subscribe to an app. I think it's called Space Weather, and you can set the settings on that to alert you when there are energetic changes happening. And we had an X class flare yesterday. We've had all kinds of M class flares, geomagnetic changes on the planet. I know the Schumann resonance is. I think we actually lost data with the Schumann resonance. It's Friday the 13th. Um, we've got an eclipse coming up. There's just so much going on, so much going on. So how are you doing? I wanted to share a little bit about how this is showing up in my life. I just think it's really helpful as a community if we share, and it can help us to feel like, oh, we can make some connections with things that are showing up in our lives that we hadn't really noticed, or maybe we hadn't thought they were part of something bigger. Can help to put things into perspective. Um, for me personally, for 2 days in the afternoon, I just felt exhausted. So, on the physical level, I had an exhaustion factor to where it was like, I can't do anything else. I just need to lay down. Um, on when that happened on Wednesday, I had to lay down, and it was like I there was a I don't even know how to put this. I went to into, like, it wasn't a meditation, it wasn't sleep. I guess it was that in between, that hypnagogic state, but I could just feel within my brain, kind of the top half of my brain, it was as though it was empty and it was all filling out. Like, there was this light coming in, and it was just, like, filling everything and making all of these connections. It was very specific, and, for example, I could feel, or I could hear, while I was in this state, I could hear that my cat wanted let out, but it was like, and normally I would just get up and let her out, but it was, like, very strong, "Don't, just kind of block that out, let that go. You need to just lay here, just let this happen." Um, and so I just I couldn't move. It wasn't that I had paralysis, but I just felt very strongly like, don't move, focus in on what's happening. And it was just all that I could perceive was this light in my head. Um, It felt great. But I know I wasn't drifting off to sleep because I was kinda thinking about that, like, I feel so exhausted that I feel like I need to go deeper so that I can actually get into sleep, but it felt like, "No, just, hold this space, hold this awareness where you're in between, um, even if you don't drop actually into sleep, this is gonna be very refreshing." So, it felt great. The same thing happened again yesterday where I just reached this point, in terms of my physical feeling. I reached this point where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't remember feeling this exhausted except yesterday." I didn't actually go to sleep at that time. We're having carpets changed in my house. We've got workers here. There was no opportunity for me to go, "Okay, I'm gonna go lay down." Um, but so for me physically, there's been exhaustion. I also had, like, the feeling of an earache and on my left side, and what's interesting is that I have been feeling on my left side for weeks. I've been having this, like, throbbing, almost like at times it's like I can feel my heartbeat in my ear. That started to feel like it was opening up, but it also felt like there was maybe, some fluid, or like something was gonna develop, like, physically in along my, I guess, my eustachian. I'm not great with, like, ENT terms, but, like, it just felt like tubes and sinuses kind of from maybe here to here that there was imbalance and maybe like some fluid or something. So I was taking some homeopathic remedies for that and trying to work with energy to just balance that out. And I haven't thought about it because my back has been aching because I moved so much furniture yesterday with this carpet install. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I think the ear thing is gone." And I hadn't even thought about it because my back's been hurting. So hooray. Um, so that's how that's been showing up anyway, physically. So I'm curious if you're watching this, if you've had any physical things show up this week in terms of all of this solar and planetary activity. And I believe that we've had really heightened energies the last, like, from midweek on, and it's continuing to go. Also, just energetically, in my world, yesterday felt like a day out of time. It felt like something shifted. It just felt like a strange day in a great way. Did anybody feel that? Like, any difference yesterday? I know there were people in my world who were like, "What is going on with this day? This day is, like, so amplified." So I released a podcast episode yesterday with Tony Ghazi, and he channels the mantis being, and there's a whole story with Tony and that connection. He is incredible. Um, a friend of mine just had a session with him last night, kind of booked it on, like, as soon as she heard the podcast, she was like, "Oh my God, I got to meet this guy." She re- reported back with that session. I heard about it this morning and I'm like, "Oh my God," because I felt like that episode was super, super special for me. Tony, I just feel a really, really strong resonance with him. And I feel a strong resonance with the mantis beings of light anyway. Um, but something with Tony where I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, he's so much fun," but he is very, very, very gifted in what he brings through. If you haven't checked out that episode yet and you're interested, particularly if you're interested in, channeling or ETs or ascension, any of those things, you'll get a lot out of that episode, and you may wanna book Tony yourself for your own session because he is very, very gifted. I'm having a session with him on Monday, and we have scheduled a part 2 of that. But anyway, I kind of at the last minute decided to put Tony's episode out yesterday instead of when I had originally thought I was going to let it release it. I thought it was going to be in a few weeks, and I rather suddenly was like, "Actually, I'm going to just put this out this week," which meant I had to shift some things around, do a little bit of admin. So it was like even extra work for me. Kind of let Tony know at the last minute, "Hey, I released it. Here it is." And one my friend who I was mentioning ended up having the session. She had a praying mantis, just show up on her screen. She opened her blinds, and this was like first thing in the morning, and there was a praying mantis on her screen. She listened to it. She got all these activations. Again, she scheduled this with him. Um, we ended up having all of these solar flares yesterday. We had the class flare yesterday. That really stood out to me. The fact that, of course, I didn't on a conscious level know that there was going to be all this heightened energy on the planet on the day that I released that episode that felt so very special to me. Um, I've done 300. I think I've released like 360 plus episodes. There are many, many episodes that I truly, truly love. Um, and Tony's is one of those, like, upper echelon, like, really precious episodes that I have. There are others out there that I hold so close to my heart. The first one with Michael Massey, episode 33. Oh my gosh, I got so many activations from that. That's back when I had a co-host from Sweden, Alessandra Gianti. Um, that one stands out. The ones with Philip Smith, I've had Philip Smith on a couple times. Those were also really powerful and potent. There have been many. I've had amazing, amazing guests. And Tony's episode is one of those, like, really precious ones. really resonated and it was very activating for me. So, the fact that I released it and it was sort of a little bit on a whim, and then we ended up having all this planetary and solar stuff come through. It was a really, really powerful day. And then, like I said, I've got these, we're having our carpet change. So it was just a weird day for me. I was, because I'm trying to stay out of the house, but like be nearby. So I was doing things in with my garden, like planting seeds and taking out things that had gone to seed. And that's an unusual thing for me to do on a weekday. Um, what else did I was like deep cleaning litter trays. you know, it was just, again, like not things I would just do on a Thursday. Um, so I just felt this calling to do these unusual activities, um, which also made the day just seem a little bit strange. So anyway, that's just a little kind of overview of how things have shown up for me. Yesterday in particular felt so strong. I do feel like we're in this window right now and it's going to keep going. So I really want to encourage you to utilize meditation. Meditation is really, really going to help you. Um, because these energies, it's great because they're so high, they're so intense, but that can be hard. It can be exhausting for you. It can make things show up. It can, make physical things show up. So give yourself a break, give other people a break as we go through this, and rest when you need to. Meditate. Things like soaking in an Epsom salt bath can really help too. That can really help to ground these energies. You can think of it as like these energies are around you and they're kind of hitting you. You want them to be able to come in and integrate and find balance within you. So things like soaking in a bath, meditating, getting your bare feet out on the ground, being in nature, all of these things, these are classic things that are really, really going to help you to surf, to ride these beautiful high frequency waves with ease and grace. Remember that you have so much love and support on the other side. You are surrounded by divine energies, divine beings who are there to support you. So lean on them too. Call them in. Ask them to assist you. Ask them to surround you and lift you up. And may you be very, very blessed as we head into this weekend, and I will see you next time.